From the moment you're born, every cell in your body begins a journey. It grows, divides, repairs, adapts, a constant dance of biological maintenance. For a while, this system works beautifully. You heal fast, think quickly, move easily. It feels like you're built to last forever. But then, slowly, things begin to change. Healing takes longer, energy dips, skin thins, muscles weaken, organs tire. Most cells in your body live by dividing. They copy their DNA, split into two, and repeat, but they can't do this forever. Every time a cell divides, the ends of its chromosomes, called telomeres, get slightly shorter. Telomeres act like protective caps, and when they become too short, the cell can no longer safely divide. It enters a state called senescence, still alive, but non-functional, like a worker who can no longer work. This isn't a flaw. It's a safety measure. Short telomeres prevent damaged cells from becoming cancerous. But the trade-off is that over time, more and more cells stop dividing. Senescent cells accumulate, tissues weaken, regeneration slows, telomeres open the door to aging, but DNA itself takes the next step. DNA is your body's instruction manual, but it's under constant attack. Radiation, chemicals, metabolism, even normal life. All these create DNA breaks and mutations. Your cells have sophisticated repair systems, but repairs aren't perfect. Errors slip through. Damage accumulates. Over years, these small imperfections distort the instructions. Proteins are made incorrectly. Cellular machinery misfires. Stem cells lose their ability to maintain tissues. DNA damage builds the second layer of aging. Loss of fidelity. Once the instructions degrade, nothing in the system works quite the same, and that leads directly into the next mechanism, a kind of molecular rust. Inside your cells, tiny power plants called mitochondria convert food into energy, but this process produces reactive oxygen species, highly reactive molecules that can damage DNA, proteins, and lipids. Your body has antioxidants to neutralize them, but over time, balance shifts. More reactive molecules, fewer defenses. The result is oxidative stress, a slow burn that corrodes cellular structures. Oxidative damage weakens cells and accelerates genetic errors. It links tightly with telomere shortening and DNA damage, creating a feedback loop that pushes aging forward. And speaking of mitochondria, they hold one of the most central roles in the entire aging process. Your mitochondria supply almost all the energy your cells need, but as they age, mitochondrial DNA accumulates damage, energy production becomes less efficient. More reactive molecules escape to creating even more oxidative stress. This energy decline is felt everywhere. Brain function, muscle strength, heart output, immune response, all depend on mitochondrial health. When energy becomes scarce, every biological process suffers. Cells slow down, tissues weaken, organs lose resilience. Mitochondria link everyday vitality to deep cellular aging. But aging isn't only about what breaks, it's also about what gets lost. Proteins must fold into very precise shapes to work, but as cells age, misfolded proteins become more common. Normally, cells clean them up through autophagy, a recycling process that breaks down damaged components. Autophagy is like cellular housekeeping, but with age, this cleanup system becomes less efficient. Misfolded proteins accumulate, clumps form, toxic aggregates interfere with cell function. Diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's are extreme examples of protein aggregation, but the same process happens quietly in every tissue. As cleanup systems slow, damage accelerates, and this accumulation leads into the next major piece of aging, communication breakdown. Cells talk to each other constantly through chemical signals. These signals regulate inflammation, repair, metabolism, growth, the entire orchestration of biological life. But with age, this communication becomes distorted. Senescent cells release inflammatory molecules. Immune cells become overactive in some areas and unresponsive in others. Hormones decline or lose their effectiveness. This chronic, low-grade inflammation is called inflammaging, and it silently accelerates degenerative diseases. Poor signaling doesn't just affect individual cells, it affects entire tissues and organs. When the network's messages become scrambled, the body loses its ability to coordinate maintenance, which brings us to one of the most visible aspects of aging, the immune system. When you're young, your immune system is sharp and responsive. It eliminates threats quickly and repairs damage efficiently. But as you age, two things happen. Immune cells weaken, they respond more slowly. Inflammation rises, causing collateral damage to healthy tissue. This combination leads to higher infection risk, slower healing, and increased likelihood of autoimmune reactions. Immune aging affects everything, from how fast you recover to how well your body maintains itself, and it creates a vulnerability that other aging mechanisms build upon. All these processes, telomere shortening, DNA damage, oxidative stress, mitochondrial decline, misfolded proteins, inflammation. So don't happen in isolation. They reinforce each other, connecting into a larger pattern. But to understand the full system of aging, we need to step back from cells and look at the body as a whole. Your tissues are constantly maintained by stem cells, a reserve of undifferentiated cells that replace damaged ones. But stem cells themselves age, they divide less often, accumulate DNA damage, and eventually lose their regenerative capacity. Once stem cells falter, tissues begin to thin and weaken, bones lose density, Muscles shrink, cartilage wears down, skin loses elasticity. Organs follow the same pattern. The heart stiffens, kidneys filter less, lungs lose elasticity, the brain shrinks in volume. Aging becomes a systemic phenomenon, the gradual decline of maintenance across the entire body. But with all these declines, one might wonder why evolution hasn't solved aging. And the answer lies in our evolutionary history. From evolution's perspective, survival only matters long enough to reproduce. Once you've passed your genes on, the natural selection stops caring about long-term maintenance. Genes that help early survival are strongly selected for. Genes that protect you late in life are not. Some genetic traits even have antagonistic pleiotropy. Beneficial early in life, harmful later, like strong growth pathways that help development but accelerate aging through increased cellular stress. Evolution optimized us for fertility, not longevity. Aging is a side effect of that evolutionary trade-off. But although evolution shaped aging, biology also gives us ways to influence it, because not all aging is inevitable, some of it is modifiable. Your environment and habits deeply affect the pace of aging. Exercise boosts mitochondrial health and slows protein accumulation. Healthy diets reduce oxidative stress. Sleep restores repair systems. Stress management controls inflammation. Social connection improves hormonal health. These don't stop aging, but they reshape how your biology experiences it. Each positive choice slows the mechanisms we've explored, not by magic, but by real biochemical effects. And this leads to the cutting edge of modern science. Can we go further? Can we actually reverse aspects of aging? The answer, surprisingly, is yes, at least partially. In recent years, breakthroughs have shown that some aging mechanisms are reversible. Senolytics remove senescent cells. NAD plus boosters support DNA repair and mitochondrial function. Rapamycin targets growth pathways linked to aging. Stem cell therapies aim to restore tissue regeneration. Epigenetic reprogramming shows potential to roll back cellular age. None are magic solutions, but they reveal aging isn't a single irreversible decline. It's a network of processes that might be slowed, modulated, or repaired. The science is young, but promising. We are beginning to treat aging not as fate, but as biology, something we can understand and potentially influence. And this brings us to the central idea. So what is aging really? Aging is not a switch that flips. It's not a programmed death sentence. It's the gradual accumulation of cellular imperfections, declining repair systems, weakened energy supply, damaged communication networks, and evolutionary trade-offs. It is a telomeres shortening, DNA breaking of proteins misfolding, mitochondria fading and inflammation rising, tissues wearing down, stem cells tiring, and systems losing coordination. Aging is the price of complexity, the cost of being alive long enough for small errors to add up, but it is also the story of resilience. Because despite all these declines, your body lasts for decades, repairing billions of cells every day, sustaining consciousness, memory, identity, and life. Aging is both the fragility and the strength of biology, a reminder that life is finite and therefore meaningful.